Okay. So, oh my gosh, I cannot believe y'all that school is out this week. I'm,
Woohoo!
I'm so excited. I'm just so tired of the routine. It's interesting though, and this is not on the agenda to talk about, but I know Angelin's really good at like strategizing summer. So I'm going to kind of put you on the spot, Angelin, if there's some things you want to share after I talk about what I'm going to talk about, just tips for summertime shows as well as strategies. But I wanted to take, the first couple of minutes just to remind everybody we've got like 28 hours left in the month, technically. And so go and check your rich rewards. Go see where you are. You do not want to like accidentally be like $100 off of the next level and be like, dang it, I should have reached out to that one person about the, flamingo earrings or whatever. So go check your rich rewards, as well as do not forget about Founders Month. And so, I love that Park Lane gives us these months or week periods where they really kind of push. I mean, they don't push us, but they give us a carrot. So you might want to push yourself, because Scott especially is such a believer that when we push ourselves, our businesses grow. So they give us those carrots to want to push toward for recognition purposes and treats that come along with it. But ultimately what happens is there are more people in your pipeline in order and more income in your pocket. So it really does help infuse your business if you can take advantage at those times. There's times you can't, but that's why they do it. So remember, for the Oceanside necklace and earrings, well, for the earrings, when you hit 3,000, you get those beautiful earrings, which look just so edgy and gorgeous. And then the Oceanside necklace, when you hit 6,000, you'll get that. And I think they're both $110 value and will be in the line, I'm assuming, if they're putting a value on it. So anyway, be sure and check where your levels are so you don't miss it by inches. The other thing is, keep in mind that we have our convention recognition going on. And I'm going to pull out really quickly my, do y'all print out your network? I love to print out my network each month and just put a little clip on it. I print it in black and white so it doesn't waste ink. But anyway, that way I've always got it on my desk. But, one of the things that I love about our Park Lane convention is that they recognize all levels. You could have literally joined 2 months prior to the convention and be walking across that stage and be like, oh my, I remember Kathy Pfizer walked across the stage at the last convention. I think she'd only been a stylist for 2 months. And she was like, what the heck? I thought it was just going to be like top achievers. And I love that they do that because, my gosh, we all have different goals, start at different times, and it makes you really feel appreciated by the company. So there are many different things that you can earn when it comes to convention recognition, from personal sales, submitting 500 net and non in the convention period, submitting 7,500, being top 50. But one of my favorite ones is the consistency. So when you are consistent, meaning 300 in sales, net and non, for 9 of the 11 weeks of convention recognition, you get this gorgeous bracelet, this, and I think it's like a Cartier inspired. It is just beautiful. That I feel is very, very, very doable. And so just, keep that in mind for yourself, that number one, it's fun. Oh, and if you don't go to convention, you still get those prizes. So you're not penalized if you're not able to go. Like Kim, I know, has a trip with her family. You're not penalized. You can still earn these great treats. So just keep in mind that convention recognition is going on as well, and you can take advantage of that. So housekeeping wise, are there any questions? Does anybody have anything on any of that? I'm drinking some hot tea. Okay. So one of the things, it's funny, Angelin and I were talking last week about our smaller teams call that we do once a week called Once Up Wednesday, and talking about what we felt our team needed to hear. And several of the things that we were chatting about were just the fact that our team, we constantly are hearing that people want to increase their attendance at their shows. And especially in the month of May, it can be challenging because people have so much going on from, children's activities. There's concerts, there are award ceremonies, there are recitals, there are grandparents going to watch those. I mean, so you might not even just be in that age group where you've got kids doing it. You're going, you've got grandparents and aunts and uncles going to watch all this kind of stuff. So it can be challenging. But it was a great point for us to just kind of say, regardless of the month, there are things that we can definitely do to talk to our hostesses and encourage our hostesses to increase attendance, because it is way more worth me going out and doing a show if I know I'm going to earn, get 10 orders. I would much rather go and do a show knowing I'm going to get 10 orders versus go and get 3. Now, with that being said, there are certain things you can do and still have that happen. So it can happen. But I always like to kind of temperature check myself after a show to make sure, okay, Christy, did you do A, B, C, and D? And sometimes I get lazy. Sometimes I have so many shows at once that I drop the ball on some of the others. Sometimes, unexplainable things can happen. But I kind of narrowed it down to 3 things that I feel are that will definitely help you increase your attendance, which increases her hostess rewards. So you have a higher chance of having a repeat hostess, as well as her tooting your horn, like you want to be a Park Lane hostess. You want to be a Park Lane hostess because she got 400 plus and free. Okay. So that's the one thing, as well as you're earning more dollars per hour. The end. So I remember when Kim did her first show, I'm going to call you out, Kim. I think it was like $2,500 or something. Yeah, it was huge. I mean, if we could do that every show, we'd be doing 8 a month.
I thought would be. I was like, oh, this isn't normal.
Right. That's kind of a blessing and a curse as your first show. You're like, wait a second. So anyways, but we're going to try. So first of all, it is essential to be talking to your hostesses. Okay. There are many times that I get busy, will text instead of talk, but I really do feel that when you first book that show, it is just critical to talk to her, to explain to her a few tips that you have to help her make the show a success. And I remember when I first started in this business, I was like, well, I don't want to come across as pushy to her. Maybe she was a friend. I don't want to tell her what to do. And so the words that I have found that are comfortable for me are, I want to share with you some tips that I have that I know that can help make the show a success. Because she doesn't know what those tips are. So it kind of puts you in the power play. And that first thing is encouraging her to invite at least 30 to 40 people. And it is so critical to give a number, 30 to 40. And I will say, you can go way more if you want to. I promise you, you will not have 40 people at your house. And if you do, you're going to be kissing me. You'll have so much jewelry. You can give them each a free piece. But I encourage 30 to 40 because about a fourth of the people will attend. Now, I'm going to give an example. I hostess coached this hostess, Melissa, for a show here in about 9 days. And I sent her the Evite. This is one reason why I love using Evite, is it will tell me how many she invited. And she's only invited 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So now that I know how many she's invited, even though I encourage the 30 to 40, what I will do is call her and talk about it. And I'll share how I do that. But I will just tell them, do not think about just your best friends. Let me give you people that you can think about. So that's the second point. Number 1 is to give them a number because they have no clue. They have no clue if you're supposed to invite 6 or 100. And then number 2, share with them different groups of their life that they can invite from. And a lot of times you'll know these hostesses. Now, as you get into the business and you're booking a lot of shows from shows, you might not know them as well, but you've probably gotten to know them some because they're willing to have you come into their home. I mean, that's the number one reason people book shows, is because they like you. So standing around, getting to know people purposefully is huge in booking shows at shows. And typically you're learning a little bit about them. Maybe you found out that, little Johnny plays soccer. Maybe you found out she's president of the PTA. Maybe you found out she works, 30 miles away in a suburb. Like, whatever you found out about her, you can stick that in your back pocket and help you when coaching her as to who to invite. So I'll tell her a number, and then I say, and let me give you an idea of like some different categories of people you can invite. Definitely think about your your BFFs, okay? Those girls that you do birthday lunch with, those that you're on your group text with, that your besties. You want to think about them, but you also want to consider your friends from the gym. What about your coworkers? What about maybe some of your husband's coworkers? Definitely do not forget about neighbors, because even if they're not super close to you, neighbors are nosy and they like to see each other's houses. And I will say that every time, and the hostess laughs, but it's so true. Like, I want to see my neighbor. I'm looking out right now. Like, I would love to see the Aikens house. I've never been in there. And it's not that I really care about the Aikens. I just want to see their house because I'm staring at it all the time. So it's kind of funny, but it's so true. But the thing about neighbors, you guys, is they might not always think to invite them, but weather will not affect them. Traffic will not affect them. They can pop over for 20 to 30 minutes. It is a non-issue. So if she can get some neighbors invited, she typically will get some neighbors attend. So I always suggest neighbors. Then you can suggest, maybe some ladies from the basketball team, if you know that her daughter plays basketball, or whatever it is that her life may consist of, give her that example. And then I'll say, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a couple of moms from the basketball team. You're going to get a couple of moms from, the neighborhood, a couple of moms from the gym, a couple of ladies from work will come together, and that'll make up your show. So they really have to think of it differently than I'm hosting a birthday dinner for myself, or I'm having a, Christmas Eve or a Christmas party. That's very different than a shopping event. And so I have found personally that when you do that, then when you actually get to that show, the audience will be varied, which is better for you to book future shows. You want the audience varied. You do not want just that core group of her friends that are all running around together all the time. Because when you're booking, you want to book one with that girl, one with the basketball mom, one with the coworker from work, and maybe one from the gym. So it really helps you in that regards, but it also helps to get more people there. Plus, and I know, some of y'all that have been doing this for a while can totally agree with this. How many times have you had a show, and I think this happened to you, Kim, where the hostess will invite a lot of the moms from PTA. She's super involved in PTA. And then all of a sudden PTA calls a meeting. You're like, crap. I have my show. Isn't my show more important? But if you have coached her to invite many different groups, then yes, it's going to affect some of the attendance, but it's not going to be the whole show. Okay. Does that make sense? So those are my top two. If you were going to do nothing else, give her a number and help her decide who to invite. Okay. Before I get to the third one, does anybody have anything to add to that? Anyone? No? Okay. The third point that I feel is huge in increasing your attendance is your invitation process. So what I personally use is Evite. Angelina, I'm actually calling you in a second. I'm going to have you talk about your Facebook event because I know you do that, where I don't do that step. But I do an Evite. And what I like about Evite is it's so easy. And people can just pull up the contacts from their phone, click, and it sends them the Evite. Okay. So I like that. I like that I can see who she invited, like I just showed you, so I can go in and check it. Now, about 6 months ago, I adopted Heidi Kuiper's RSVP check-in step, where what that is about, 4, 5, 6 days after the Evite was sent out, I go in and see who's responded, and y'all typically like 70% haven't viewed it or responded. Like it's just normal. And I tell the hostess that. So I will screenshot to her who has not responded, and I ask her to personally text those people. Now, I am telling you guys, this is really huge because think about it. That original text message from Evite actually doesn't come from Susie Smith, the hostess. It comes from like a random 5-digit number or something. So if they get it and they're in a meeting, they're in a doctor's appointment, they're on the phone, and they happen to click on it, you can't actually make it look unread again. Well, then if they're like, wait a second, didn't Christy invite me to something? They really can't go back and search it. So it's easy in that it's great for the hostess to invite, but if they forget to respond to it, then it's kind of hard for them to go back and find it. So I like the hostess to send out a text from her just saying, hey, Julie, wanted to make sure you received the Evite that I sent you. I'd love for you to come if it works for your schedule. And then I have her attach the link to the Evite. And I text that over to her. I give her the sample words, okay, to send. If she will do that step, all of a sudden you start seeing an increase in the RSVPs because either it went to spam, they didn't see it, they ignored it, they got busy, a kid clicked on the phone, whatever. But all of a sudden you will see an increase if she will take that step to personally text those people that haven't responded or haven't viewed. And then the third step is doing a day before reminder. The wine is chilling. And I usually have a cute little image that we've shared, all of us with the cute images people have made saying the wine's chilling. And I give her the words to text out again to remind the guest that the event is the next day. So if you will do those 3 things, explain to her who to invite. I'm sorry. First thing was how many to invite, 30 to 40 plus, who to invite, give her the examples of her life, the different groups that she's involved in that she should pull people from, as well as do that. I guess it's like a 3-step reminder or 3-step invite process, an Evite, that RSVP check-in, 5 or 6 days in, and then a day before reminder. I guarantee you will increase your attendance. You will increase her hostess rewards, and you will increase the income that you make at each show. Most stylists are not willing to do all this, and it's really not that hard. And if you think about what it can mean to your dollars per hour, you're like, it's kind of stupid if I don't go do this. And I think sometimes we get busy, sometimes we forget. One of the things that I have found helpful to myself is I will actually write these little steps on my calendar. RSVP check-in, Susie, reminder, Julie, just so that I remember to do the things just in case I get busy. So that's something I have done for myself. So that in a nutshell are my 3 tips in increasing your attendance. I would love, Angela, and I actually, mentioned a second ago, if you would mind sharing why you do a Facebook event and how you do that as well, and maybe your results from that.
Sure. I just think it's been, kind of a habit for a long time. I do Evite for sure. I do all that Chrissy just said, although I'm not as good about the RSVP check-in stuff, and I need to get better about that. But in addition, so as soon as I book a show, I kind of just have a process where I go and start, create the link, and then I go to Evite, and then I just copy and paste or I just like duplicate from the last one, so you're not recreating the whole thing. And then that same little content that I write, in the Evite, which is really just copy and paste, kind of edit from the last one. Then I copy that with her link in it, and I go to Facebook and I start an event. And I just put that so it takes, no time. And so I always do the Facebook event and the Evite as well. And then I send her an email with both links. And then I kind of give her some words to say that says, always do the Evite. And if you'd like to, do the Facebook in addition to it. It's just a good way to allow us to market and to keep people engaged before the show. So, but I always tell her, don't rely just on Facebook, because it's really hard to get people to pay attention to Facebook events. I say that, but I honestly get a lot of engagement on our Facebook events prior to. So about every other day, I go in and I just go through my Facebook events that are open, and I just post something, just something cute, whatever I'm posting in my VIP group that day, I kind of post in the Facebook events. I don't overthink it. Like, do it when I'm waiting on something, you know, but it really does keep people engaged. And a lot of times people come in and go, well, you posted this bracelet, I really liked it. Or they'll say, oh, I saw about the 2 and 4 sale, I saw that, you know, and that's where they'll see the link to go browse. And so I know it works because people comment a lot. And you know, like that crazy weather show that you had, Christy, where the weather was so bad. I did one in Austin where it was like Armageddon outside.
Yeah.
And I mean, she had like 4 people show up. I was shocked. This is great. But I know there were several that couldn't come. So I went live in the Facebook event. And right after I went live, I did the group hello, like my little talk. Brittany, my hostess, filmed it. And while I was just doing my normal talk, I'm like, just put it on the Facebook event. And then we shared the link below. And then she kind of showed some of her favorites. And we got 3 orders that night, 3 more orders. So that's a great reason to watch, you know, to add the Facebook event, because it can enhance the show and you can go live in it. Just sometimes I totally forget. I don't even think about it. But occasionally when I'm like, okay, this is going to be a low show, we're doing that, you know, and it's an easy ad at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you would share, because I think that's actually one of the places that I could add, because, you know, that day Angelin's talking about was, I don't know, 2 Saturdays ago or something. And I think she had like 3 or 4 people coming. I was trying to get her qualified as a stylist because I needed another stylist for the St. Martin trip. And, you know, of course I wanted her to get qualified, but Angela was like, go live in your Facebook event. I was like, I don't have a Facebook event. So I do think there's definite benefits from doing that. And also something that Angelin didn't mention is that there are always going to be people that you don't have their contact information for, that you will have their Facebook information for. And so that is something that some hostesses really do like, because they'll invite different people on the Facebook event. So thank you, Angelin. Anybody else have any tips or suggestions on what you do to help your hostess increase attendance? I would love anybody else's feedback. Anyone? Or those are our main things. Anybody have any questions? I know, in fact, I'm going to go look. Okay, let's see. Allison says, I never do the Evite. Maybe this is part of the problem. Do you create and send from your laptop and email? Okay, so I create it from my laptop just because it's easier than from my phone. It's not hard from your phone. Yes, I actually do it from the laptop, because you want to add a co-host, her as the co-host, and you can't do that from your phone. When you add her as the co-host, she can go in and add people. And I then send her I tell her to download the app on her phone. And then when she goes to the app, because I've added her as a co-host with her email address, that's her account number with Evite. When she pulls up the app, that event is right there staring at her. And there's a little button that says add guests, and she taps on it and it pulls up all of her contacts from her phone. Okay, if that makes sense, Allison. Do your hostesses send the Evite? Okay, through text typically. I find so many people don't check their emails. They tend to, that's exactly why. Since Evite has started this application, I don't know, 18 months ago or something, I have primarily done Evite. But like I mentioned, when it gets texted to them, it doesn't say it's from, Christy Goodman. It has like a 5 or 6 digit number. So that RSVP check-in a week later, really does help just to make sure that they clicked on it and RSVP'd. And then it does, of course, do a reminder 2 days before. Automatically, it's set to do that. And you can kind of change some of those restrictions if you want to. So hopefully that makes sense. And let's see if there's anything else. I still get a lot of girls that only want to do a Facebook event and make me the co-host. I also send text invites. You know, Allison, there are girls that really just love the Facebook event. I would just caution them. I would say, you know, we can absolutely do a Facebook event, but I would like to text invites as well. Sounds like that's what you're doing. Because of what Angelyn said, so many people miss notifications on Facebook because we're inundated by Facebook. So I'd love to text some invites as well, if that's okay with you. Like, that's what I would say. I will tell you, there are a few hostesses that have kind of been, they've kind of insisted, not that they've been rude or pushy. They've been like, you know, it's really my neighborhood group and we always, you know, communicate through Facebook. And I mean, at some point you can only push people so much. And I'll be like, okay, that sounds great. You know, we'll just do a quick text after, or a quick reminder as well. And those people that are certain, those few times, they've actually done okay just with the Facebook event. But typically, even if they say, I'd like to just do a Facebook event, I will use my standard, you know, we can absolutely do it as an add-on, but let's do an evite or a text invite as well. And typically they'll do that. But then, like I said, every now and again, there's just those few people that just know that their group, that's how they communicate. So, you know, I don't want to be ridiculous with them. So, okay. Any other suggestions or tips? Anybody wants to share questions? Thank you, Allison, for all these questions. Anybody else? So bottom line is, you're going to go check your Rich Rewards. You're going to check your Founders Month numbers. You are going to consider convention. Everybody needs to be in Chicago if you can. And then to increase attendance, it's 1, 2, and 3. Tell them how many to invite. Tell them who to invite. Give them suggestions. And then number 3, do the 3-step invite process. So y'all, I hope this has been helpful. It is recorded. So if you have somebody on your team that wasn't able to pop on, I will upload that recording and then share it on the Treasure Tribe page. And thank you. Thanks for listening in. Let's increase our attendance. Bye, guys.